You talked a little bit about it, but what made Coach Addazio the guy for this job? And I got to admit, over the last 24 hours, I was looking at a ton of videos. I wanted to see exactly what Coach was all about, and you could really feel that passion that he brings to his job. You could feel it through YouTube. You could feel it here at Kansas Stadium today.
That's right, Brian. It was an absolutely competitive process. As I mentioned before, we had some wonderful candidates who put their heart and soul in the effort, but when we started to really listen to the messaging that Coach Addazio was sharing with us, how he was going to build the foundation of the program, how he was going to build that foundation of love, how he was really going to seek to create passion within his program, it became clear to us that he was the leader of the pack, so to speak, and obviously was our final selection as it related to the head coaching position for us.
You had mentioned this is a highly sought-after job. I mean, you look at the facilities, you look at Fort Collins, and where this football program is positioned in the Mountain West Conference. There were some reports out on social media that Colorado State was engaged in conversation with other candidates. Can you talk a little bit more about that and the process, the hiring process?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of begin with the top of the funnel, and you start narrowing it down, and you start conversations with people, and ultimately, I've heard it described once before as kind of swim lanes. You've got candidates kind of moving through the process. You're vetting them. You're trying to determine really what will be your final decision. I'll tell you, our number one seed was the one that touched the wall first.
Yep. All right, Coach. As you know, Fort Collins, you see it out there, the mountains. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. There's a lot of things that attracts folks to Colorado State and Fort Collins. What was it about this opportunity? And you touched on it a little bit, but if you can expand a little bit more for us, what was it about this opportunity at Colorado State that drew you here?
Well, obviously, alignment's everything to me. And I wanted to be aligned and partnered with a president, with an athletic director that saw it through the same set of lenses. I think that's critically important that you align. Obviously, the facilities are fantastic here. The university is world class. The area is one of the most sought after areas to live in, which then means that you have a great opportunity to recruit to it. And I just saw this as a wonderful opportunity to be a part of a family and to be at a place where I could have a hand and a part in developing some athletes.
I want to talk some football with you, and we're going to certainly do that. And one of the prevailing themes that I've heard from you over the last 24 hours, and certainly just a couple of moments ago, is toughness. And a lot of times that means running the football, and it certainly means stopping the run as well. How do you bring a culture of toughness as you come into a football program like you are here?
Well, I think there's there's mental toughness and there's physical toughness. I think they're equal, and I think when you train, you're training every day for mental toughness and physical toughness. And so within your football program, if you want to talk specifically about football, I think that you have to have a balanced approach. I think you want to have a balanced offense, but I think clearly, if you can't play great defense, and the fundamental thing about playing great defense is you have to be able to stop the run. Otherwise, you won't even have a conversation about third down. You won't get past first and second down. So you have to stop the run. And then on the other side of the ball, you have to have great balance because you got to be able to create explosives. But you have to be able to have the ability to run the football. And then what happens is football to me is complementary. I think what's happened in football out there today is, okay, I was a part of the cutting edge with Urban at Florida in the spread offense, and then it became the tempo offense. And it's all good. But football, like life, has to complement each other. If you just are all tempo and you can't run the ball, then your defense never has an opportunity to get better at defending the run. And if your defense is just blitzing all the time, your offense never gets a chance to have continuity in learning how to line up to base runs and block them, etc. So I think football has to be complementary. And I think when you want to build a good program, your offense has to help your defense has to help your offense, and your special teams have to be critical roles. So I think those three phases have to be in sync with each other. And I think sometimes that can get out of whack. And when that gets out of whack, I think it's problematic. But in order to have a physical, tough program, you have to be able to stop the run and be able to run. And And that's a building block for winning a championship. That's championship level football. And I don't think you'll find a national championship team or many conference championship teams that don't have that.
You're an offensive coach. Obviously, we're an offensive coordinator at several stops, including the University of Florida with Urban Meyer. How much of your fingerprints are going to be on the offense, and how much will you be involved with the offense? I'm sure the media's going to ask you about your coaching staff, and obviously you got to evaluate that. But how much are your fingerprints on the offense?
I mean, quite a bit. I mean, I'm a hands-on guy. I talked to the team today and I told them that. I said, you know, I'm not one of those guys that's going to twirl my whistle at midfield. I mean, I'm rolling my sleeves up. I'm coaching. It's the best part of my day, and I'm very involved with the offense. I'm very involved with the special teams. I learned that from Urban. Urban's been one of the great mentors for me in my career. I've had great mentors, and he's certainly one of the very, very best. And so my fingerprints will be on it. Now, I won't call it on game day, because I think for the head coach, you have got to be on the headsets with the offense, the defense, the special teams. You've got to manage the game. And I don't think you can do that justice on, like, if you're an offense, if you're a head coach trying to call an offense, because that means you have to have a lot of conversation in between series, and my focus and attention has to be on the defense when the defense is on the ball. Because those, you know, there's a lot going on there, and as the head coach, you need to manage the game. So my fingerprints are on it, but I will hire a staff and a coordinator that will call.
Joe, I want to get back to the hiring process. You did not use a search firm for this particular hire, but what you did do, and you said on many occasions, you were going to surround yourself with people that had an affinity for Colorado State University. And can you kind of share a little bit more about the guidance that you received in this process?
Sure, Ryan, absolutely. You know, search firms are wonderful resources, and we felt early on that we had an opportunity to leverage into some great insight into the college football game. And it just really became apparent that if we utilize that resource, that we were going to come up with a great outcome, and we certainly have.
Yeah.
I'd like to just add something there.
Absolutely.
I've been through this thing a few times, you know, in my career. This was the most professional, well thought out, detailed thing I've ever been a part of. Okay, and that's a credit to our president and our athletic director. But I wouldn't say that wasn't accurate. It was really amazing.
Right. Right. Steve, this has been your third head coaching experience. You went to Temple. You led them to a bowl win over Wyoming. The first win in a bowl game for Temple in 32 years. You took over a 2-win Boston College team and led them to a bowl game of 7 wins in your first year there. You have some experience in these situations. What have you learned over the last 9 years as a head coach that'll help prepare you to guide this football program back to the lofty perch I know so many Ram fans want to see it at?
Well, you know, as you said, it is a process for all of us. To me, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. And the experiences I've had have been invaluable. And, you know, I think that experience of coming in, and there's a big picture view and a small picture view. There's a day-to-day view when you come in, and then there's a big picture view. And having the ability to manage all of that, and to be able to connect with the team, and to be able to bring the right people in, and to be able to develop a culture, I think that's all foundational stuff. And I think if you don't have that foundational stuff and you just try to plug and play, then you're not building something that's going to be, you know, like a house, right? You want a great foundation, and that house stands for a long time. You don't want to try to plug and play and then don't have a great foundation to work off of. So I'd like to say that to come in and to build a great foundation, what's the foundation? It's the team concept. It's the culture. It's the way we handle ourselves. It's the way, what are the expectations? I think it's being, clear, concise, and direct, having a plan. I like to think that leadership is setting a standard and holding everybody accountable to that standard. And I think what you need is, you have to have great, clear vision, leadership, and guidance. And then you go about the business of building your program the right way on core values.
All right, well, here we are, December the 12th. Signing day coming up in 6 days, December the 18th. I know you got a lot of work ahead of you. You know, Steve, you've spent your entire career kind of on the west or the east coast. You're east of the Mississippi. What kind of challenges do you maybe perceive coming here to Colorado State and recruiting to a place this far west?
Well, I've been recruiting in Texas and California and Arizona. I mean, in a lot of my stops. The last one I was at, we recruited nationally. So I myself have been out on the road and out west a bunch. And I've been in this business a fair amount of time. You know, my experiences at Notre Dame were a national recruiting school. So I've recruited everywhere. I was a national, one of the things I did as a young coach, I was a national clinic speaker. And I had been out here to Colorado speaking. I've spoke all over the country to high school coaches. And so I've kind of had that ability to do that. I think the challenges that out there are the new rules, NCAA rules. The recruiting clock is short right now. And you cannot go on the road after Saturday. And Sunday it becomes dead now. It's a dead period. And no one can visit anywhere. And then you're restricted on your phone calls. So those are what your challenges are now with where the rules are in recruiting. So, you know, you're in a wind sprint right now to manage the most important commodity we have, and that's our players. Meaning meet them, get to know them. Also get to know the existing commitments and try to have some face time with them. And that's a geographical nightmare with the clock of recruiting. And then get organized, get your staff in place, and then gear up for the next cycle. There's 2 cycles now in college football. And that's where we are. And just kind of every day, you know, dig, and keep digging. And, you know, college football is a recruiting game. You know, you want to win, you also have to have great players.
Right.
And recruiting is the lifeblood, so we'll be very busy with that.
Yeah, 2010, Coach Addazio was named the #1 recruiter in the nation when he was at the University of Florida. All right, hey, one final thought to you, Joe, from me, and I know you'll get some questions from the media, but you know, you look at the stops that Coach Addazio has been at, Syracuse, you know, he's been at Florida, Notre Dame. Head coaching positions, though, at Temple and then, of course, Boston College. Are there similarities between Temple and Colorado State, Boston College and Colorado State that made this partnership with Coach Addazio the right fit for all parties?
I think what I marveled at was just Coach's ability to create successful programs that maybe weren't resourced at the highest level. And one of the things I think was already stated that was really appealing about Colorado State is within our conference, obviously, we're well resourced. So that was an attraction for him, was an opportunity to come to a place where we were going to value and put him in a position to have success. You know, we haven't really talked too much about it. I mean, Steve mentioned it. He was in 6 out of 7 years he was in a bowl game from Boston College. I don't know, Coach, if that's ever happened in the history of their program before you.
Well, it's you know, certainly we're proud of what we got accomplished. You know, we played in a very competitive conference. On the most competitive side of that conference, where in the last 5 years there was 3 national championship teams. So there were certainly challenges, but very, very proud of what got done there. And as you said, Joe, so looking forward to what's here, the resources here, and I want to say it again, the alignment, the support from our president, from our athletic director, the athletic department, the alignment, meaning everyone has a vision together, working in the same direction. I got to tell you guys, that's a beautiful thing, it really is, and that's hard to come by, and that will lead to success.
All right, final thought from me to you, Coach. Obviously, about 2 o'clock here today, you were down meeting with the team, and they got to meet you for the first time, and likewise, you got to meet them for the first time. You're going out trying to recruit new kids to come. It almost feels like you're recruiting the kids that are already here. What was your message to the football team about an hour ago?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of things that we talked about an hour ago, but I really wanted to make sure that they knew that I was really excited to be here, and that I needed to earn their respect. And that's my job, to go about earning their respect. And how do I do that? By making sure they know every day that I care about them, and I'm fighting for them, and we will build a relationship, and love will be part of that relationship, and you build that over time. That doesn't happen immediately. But I wanted to make sure they understood that we're going to build something great here. And I told them, I said at the end, I said, I want you to walk out of here and stick your chest out a little bit and feel great about what you've got accomplished here. Feel great about the fact that you're an elite player here at Colorado State University, and you're going to be a part of something special. And it won't be easy, but we're going to do it together. And we're going to build together and have great pride in that.
Joe, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Coach Addazio, welcome to Fort Collins. We're excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We're going to hand this over to media, guys. Since Coach doesn't know who you are, even though we all do, if you could please just state your name and affiliation with the first question.
Kelly Lyle, Fort Collins, Colorado. Joe, just to begin with, you talked about kind of narrowing that down. There was a list of 5 that got out there. I don't know how accurate it was or how willing you say it. Hard to say it was accurate, but with integrity #1 on the list, a couple of those people had some questions about their integrity, as did one of your primary consultants in this process, Urban Meyer, from an incident that happened at Ohio State. How did you balance that?
Kelly, I don't know that I want to spend any time trying to validate that list. I know that whatever may have been out in the media, wasn't coming through any source at the university. Integrity is at the top of the list for us, and we vetted every one of our candidates. We gave great consideration to what we wanted to be our, the successful characteristics of our football coach here. And as I said, we made our decision. Our final decision landed with Steve Addazio.
Justin Mendoza with CSU. Coach, this university is known for building great receivers. Do you have the plans or the resources to continue that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have great receivers, and we want to utilize their special talents. There's nothing better than watching that ball go down the field and getting chunks of yards with great skill players going up and making plays. So I'm signed up for that. I want to see that thing go down the field. I want to make sure that we have an exciting brand of football, and I want to make sure that we can create explosives, because that's where it is in college football today. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have a chance to work with the dynamic group of receivers that we have here right now.
Coach, Pat Brown from Associated Press. Nice, congratulations, first of all. It's been kind of a whirlwind for you since December 1st. Have you had a chance to process everything, and what's that been like?
Probably not. To be honest with you, you get into the process of these deals, and it is a whirlwind. And but I'm fortunate that I have a wonderful wife that keeps everything grounded, and just kind of take one day at a time and kind of work through it. And that's an honest answer to that question. But I got to tell you, this day has been energizing for me. Like, I feel alive and energized, and out of that, I'm so jacked up to be back to work and going and meeting the team and 100 miles an hour. That's the way it's got to be. Downtime, I don't know, not good.
Coach Susie Wardren from QnA Radio, also a CSU alum, welcome. 2 questions for you. One, you've got a couple guys down playing for the Broncos that are former players of yours. Is Justin Simmons, he's got himself very involved in the community. Is he somebody you would tap into to help with the, hey, Colorado's a great place to come to?
I mean, he's a wonderful guy. Like, he is all about the right stuff, tremendous community service guy, a really, really good human being. And the Broncos are lucky to have him. And I would absolutely utilize him in any way I possibly could, because he is just a great guy, tremendous guy.
All right, second one. Brian alluded to the Twitter videos. For those that don't know you, can you talk about the dude and the video and what your thing is with dudes?
Well, so the dude thing, I don't know. People say, what's a dude? Well, a dude is someone who's great at what they do, And he said, like, Joe, you're a dude.
Steve, you're a dude.
That's what it is, And honestly, like, we would say in coaching sometimes, like, that guy's a dude. He's a dude. So I kind kind of got like that, you know? And it kind of took a life of its own, you know? I don't know. It's kind of cool, I think, you know? But anyways, that's how it happened. Yeah, not real complicated. With certainly no ill, you know, nothing towards anybody. Just like, wow, look at that dude, man. He's a dude.
Justin Adams, CBS 4. Coach, CSU has lost 12 straight games to their rival sports in Wyoming, Colorado, as well as.
Oh, we weren't going to say that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Can you say that? Can you just say that team up north and don't say that?
We'll go with that, yeah. But you got to grab that boot, pretty much. But the first game is here, going up against Colorado. What's the importance of winning that game to establish your culture?
I mean, you set goals, and that is a primary goal. I mean, to win the opener and to beat your rivals, those are primary goals, and to me, that's what drives the offseason. And it's so cool, right? That's what makes college football so special. It's those rivalry games and the passion that is inside of those games, and everybody's got emotion about it, and I just love all that. Like, that's a cool part about college football, and so they're intense, and they should be intense, and they should be so meaningful, and they are. I mean, we're talking about such a long-lasting, standing rivalry game that has great history. That's the very best of college football.
Coach, over to your left. Jeff Dressel, 9 News, NBC of Denver. Take us back to the moment when you were told you got the job. What was your first reaction? Can I take us through that process, your thought process at the time?
You know, it's interesting that you asked me that, because I'm a pretty emotional guy, you know, and I'm excitable, and, you know, but when President McConnell told me, quite honestly, offered me the job, I was probably uncharacteristically subdued. And I just got flushed with a lot of emotion. When somebody tells you that they're entrusting you with the care of something so important to these student athletes, and they believed it, it meant the world to me. And I had to process that. And then I immediately said to myself, gosh, I wonder if these people think I'm not excited. You know? And so that moment was a great moment. And that's the way I reacted. And then I tried to gather myself and make sure that they knew that I was very excited. I just was kind of emotionally, overwhelmed. Yeah.
Justin Michael of DNVR. Have you approached any of the staff members from the previous staff about possibly staying on, and do you have an ideal date of when you would like to have your new staff completed?
So, no, I have not yet. I will meet with everybody in the football program, and I really believe that that's very important that I do, and show them the respect that they so much deserve, and the wonderful job that they've done here. And then I have to make the hard decisions of evaluating everything in regards to who's here, in regards to who I bring in, and I want to make the very best decisions. And I was asked earlier about experience. My experience, having gone through this, is to take your time. I've got to meet the team. I've got to recruit. I've got a lot I got to do. But take your time. Meet with the great people that are here, and formulate. Do I have ideas? Of course. But you want to put up, it's a puzzle you're putting together. And that puzzle is about making it a great fit for here, and making sure that it's the best possible staff that is great for Colorado State. And so while I'm not going to take a month to do it, but I'm going to take my time and put it together the right way, and make sure that there's a great chemistry. Chemistry is critical. You want a chemistry on your team, it has to start with a great chemistry on your staff. So I'm going to go about that process. I can't tell you that it'll be a week. I can tell you it won't be a month, but it'll be sometime over the course of the next week to 10 days. I'll I'll put this thing together with the help of Joe. As a team, he'll be with me every step of the way with this. And because his insight into the culture, his insight into the specifics of Colorado State, I need to value his experience here, his opinion, and his guidance. And then I'll couple that with my thoughts, and together we'll put this together and we'll put it together the right way.
Kevin Lytle, Fort Collins, Colorado. Joe, question for you. You talked last week about kind of the importance of, fan support kind of through thick and thin. Obviously, yesterday, I'm sure you saw a reaction wasn't, 100% supportive, excited to support it. Just kind of how do you react and respond to, I guess, doubt?
Yeah, I didn't see anything firsthand, Kevin. I've kind of realized that social media is a place where people can say things without any kind of recourse on their comment. I was told a little bit about reactions, but I mean, I think where it begins is when people start to get to know Steve and Coach Addazio and really what he's all about. And I think today he did a wonderful job with the team. I saw a lot of smiles, I saw a lot of head nodding, I saw some laughter, and I haven't seen that in a while from our team. I see the reaction of the people in this room. We had a small reception upstairs. I saw the reaction from those people. I think it's going to kind of get built out in concentric circles. He's a high energy guy, high energy dude, and I'm excited to just unleash him on Fort Collins in Northern Colorado. I know he's got a great partner in Kathy. They're going to build some wonderful relationships in this community, and that's how we do it at Colorado State. I mean, when you look at the people that come into our arena to support our volleyball program, our basketball programs, that's exactly what we're going to do here at Kansas State.
Eddie Ayers, Loveland Reporter, Herald. Steve, just with 6 days until the early signing day, just what are your plans to try and hold on to some of these 2020 commits, and do you plan on meeting with them face-to-face specifically?
Well, we're going to have a weekend this weekend, and on short notice, try to work the schedules to get as many people here as we can so that I can have that interaction. Obviously, that's the most efficient way to try to maximize FaceTime, if you will, and get that done. And we're going to make the best of that the next 2 days that we can. And what's important is getting it right. And we're in this for the long haul. And it's not a wind sprint. So we gotta just keep our eyes set and make good decisions and move forward. If that costs you a little bit right now, then I guess that's the price of where we are. And but my experience tells me that it's got to be a great marriage when you're in the recruiting game, and that's based off of relationships. So we're gonna do the best we can right now in the short haul here, but I'm quite confident that we'll get where we need to be at the end of the recruiting process.
Did you run into similar situations at Temple or Boston College kind of entering right before signing day, and if so, what did that kind of teach you about handling this process?
What I just said, I mean, I think what it taught me was, don't panic, steady in the boat. That's a big saying for me, just steady in the boat and go about the business of doing a good job evaluating, make sure that, you've got the right fits. And, sometimes that can be a little costly, and that's all part of this. When there's change, that happens. And you just do the best you can to manage it and create the best recruiting class that you can. And that's what we're going to do. It'll all work itself out.
Jerry Stratton, CTV. I know we've been talking a lot about the offense and your offensive mentality, but what steps are you going to be making towards the defense and rebuilding this team?
Well, I think first and foremost, we got to stop the run, right? But I think great strides were made here on defense. I think statistically, 50, 60 points percent higher in stat categories happened. So that means that there are good players, and that means there was progress made. What happens is everybody, and I understand, people have a hard time grasping when you're young. You might have a heavy graduation on one side of the ball. You might, and it's like you say, well, we had to replace place whatever, sixth or whatever. And yeah. But nothing. I mean, and so what happens is, I think on defense, from my understanding, watching what I've seen, it's trending in the right direction. And you know, I'm sure that's reflective of talent, and it's reflective of maturity, but I think overreaching, I would say that it's critical that in front of us we have to stop the run there. And that's not being critical, that's just a fact of where we are at this point in time. We have to stop the run there. And that's a primary focus to me, to establish a championship level team. You have to play great defense, which starts with stopping the run. So we got to continue there. We got work to do there, and we got to get bigger and stronger and all that other kind of stuff. But there are very good pieces here for sure.
Coach, Justin Adams again, CBS4. Excuse me, what's your type of player? We all know we would like the five-star athletes, obviously, but what's the Addazio player that's going to help build up culture here at CSU?
Yeah, I mean, I've spent the last 9 years not with 4 and 5-star players, but I'd like to tell you they became 4 and 5-star players. I had a young man named Chris Lindstrom, was the 12th pick of the NFL draft, offensive lineman. He was an unrecruited player. He came out of high school as an offensive lineman, 6'3", 235 pounds. He left at 6'3", 310 pounds as the 12th pick of the draft. So I think I have a good understanding of what it is to go out, identify, evaluate, and develop. What that would look like to me, I'll use Chris for an example. Extremely high character, one of the most wonderful human beings you can be around. Really super competitive and tough inside the white lines. Outside the white lines, he's like the sweetest guy you've ever met. He has a passion for the game and plays with an unbelievable relentlessness. That's what I look for. Character, passion for the game, toughness. That's what I think you have. You get those characteristics, and you can develop players. Certain positions have some certain things that go along with it. You know, like I look for guys up front that are explosive, meaning they have good explosion, snap off the ball. Some guys look for people that are just size. You know, I like explosiveness. I call it twitch. On the football field, whether it's an offensive line, a linebacker, receiver, I like guys that are twitchy and that can explode. And that's me. That's what I look for. And I just think if you have high character and great work ethic, and you couple that, then you can develop and grow, and truly grow and blossom. And here's what you're up against, guys. Okay, what you get up against is it's never fast enough. So Chris, that I've talked about, he had to start as a true freshman because there was a deficiency in the roster when I got there. He had to start as a true freshman. He got his brains beat in. He got thrown around the football field. Honestly, we lost our starting quarterback because he got picked up by somebody from Florida State and planted an ankle on the quarterback. And I remember people saying, "What are we doing? How can we play with this guy?" Well, the night they award, he would have redshirted, but he didn't. But every year, boom. And all of a sudden, he's all conference, all American, first-round draft pick. And that's development. And so I've been involved in developmental programs where we've had to recruit and develop our players, not plug and play. Okay? And so I think that's something that I think I'm good at, and I have a good understanding of, and I actually enjoy. But when your roster graduates, sometimes unevenly, it just happens, right? I mean, who redshirts, who doesn't, blah, blah, blah. You're in a foot race. And when you're developmental, sometimes guys are, when they're young, they're not at the same level as a freshman or sophomore than they might be as a junior or senior. And so, you know, when it all can jive together at the same time, those are usually good years. Yeah.
Kelly Lyle again from Fort Collins, Colorado. You kind of indicated that you like the alignment here, that everything's in place here. Does that suggest that there were some things that were in place at Boston College? And if so, also, the other part of that question is just what did you learn from what you did there that you believe will make you be a even better coach here?
So I'm not focused on, I'm proud of what was accomplished, but I'm just focused on where I am right now and moving forward. I think what I try to just explain is what I really learned in my past, where I've had to go out and research, evaluate, and develop, and mold. And I think, how can you evaluate that? By the numbers of players that eventually, if you're just looking at it from a football lens, go on to the NFL. You know, last year, we put 7 players into the NFL, 5 on active rosters. This year, you know, this past year, we got 9 returning all-conference players, 5 up front. Not one of those kids up front was recruited by a Power 5 team. I mean, you know, Temple, there was something like 19 players went on to play in the NFL. Not one had a Power 5 offer. I think I'm proud of that because I think that speaks to the ability to go identify, evaluate, and develop. And I think that's an important piece. I've also been on the flip of that. I was at Florida where we were recruiting 4- and 5-star players. Although the Pouncey brothers, they were 3-star players. They like to tell you they were 5-star. They didn't 5-star once they committed to us. But they were 3-star. And so, I mean, you know, I kind of liked it like that, you know. Because you know why? I love to coach. And I love the thrill of the development piece of it. And I'm proud of that because you can evaluate that. Yeah, that happened. You can evaluate whether that was real or not real. You know what I mean? And so those experiences, I think, among many others, but we're just talking about football right now. I think those experiences are extremely valuable. And certainly, my last 7 years, dealing in a very high-end academic setting where it was very, very challenging. So fitting the student athletes, having great success in the classroom and on the playing field, where it's very, very difficult.
Drew Phelps from 600 KCOL. This question's for Joe. With obviously, Urban Meyer has a lot of Fort Collins and Colorado State ties. Was there any contribution factor that you made in making this decision? Did you guys talk to him at all, just out of curiosity?
You know, I think there's a lot of information out there that would underscore coaches' interest in helping us. You know, when you've got someone that has that level of football experience, that level of football acumen, connected within the sport of college football, and is out of the sport right now, and so has time on his hands. I mean, when you get an opportunity to have conversations around that with a person like that, you welcome